Hi, I'm just popping in here. I'm just editing this video to put it up, and I've realized that I've had my video on the wrong setting today. Yay me. I was so sure I was going to get something wrong, and I double checked my microphone was on and my battery was full and all that sort of stuff, and I forgot that I had changed the settings on a previous video, and so the camera has had some trouble trying to focus on me because of a little box of cards that I had sitting off. Now, the camera was a little bit far away from me today and I couldn't actually see the screen, so I didn't realize that that box was making it go in and out. So it's as annoying. It is as annoying as hell. So I do apologize, and it's for nearly the whole video. So just listen. You don't have to watch because it does get pretty frustrating. Just listen or just stare at the lovely cards. But I just wanted to get on and apologize. But these types of videos, I can't really go back and re-record because, you know, you're in the zone, you've connected, and it's never the same once you do it again. So I'm going to leave it as it is. I have stuck up the cards on a split screen so you do have something to look at. But yeah, I just wanted to apologize for that. I will get it right one of these days. Okay, enjoy the video.
Hello and welcome to Story and Stone. My name is Amanda, and I thought I would come on here today and do a reading for Winter Solstice. In my pagan wheel of the year that I like to follow, Winter Solstice is the first day of winter, unlike the traditional Gregorian calendar. So I love this day of the year because winter is one of my favorite seasons. If you've read my Living with the Seasons series, which can be found in my blog on my website, storyandstone.com.au, you will know that Winter Solstice is all about being grateful for what has happened in the past year, and just stepping back and reflecting and hibernating a bit and looking at our stories and seeing what we can let go of and what we need to work on, what we want to take forward. And we can do that by planting seeds. So thinking about things, not actually doing stuff, but just thinking about stuff. And planting seeds literally as well if you're a gardener. And depending on what part of the country you're in, because it might be too cold yet, you might need a little greenhouse to do that in. But yeah, so Winter Solstice is a time for just stepping back and being grateful for all that you have, for the people that surround you, for the situations that are available to you, and just thinking about how grateful you are for those things, but also thinking about the things that didn't work for you over this past year and what you're going to let go of. This is a real, it's a good season for just hunkering down, you know, spending lots of family time together, maybe going for walks. I know me and my husband have just started hiking in the national park, and I love it. I don't know if he's as keen as me, but I absolutely love it, getting out there, and you can really smell the, you know, that smell of the Australian bush. And it's cool, not too many snakes around. I love this time of year. So it's a really good time for you to do a lot of family things, picnics when it's not pouring with rain like it is at the moment, movie nights, game nights, all that sort of thing. You know, really just hunkering down and bringing your loved ones close and just really appreciating all the people that you have in your life. So I've sort of digressed a bit there. I was going to get all my housekeeping out of the way, and I've just gone straight into the video today. So I will just say, I'm Amanda. I'm from Story and Stone. I'm a holistic counsellor. I'm also clairvoyant and medium, and I do lots of readings, monthly readings on my YouTube channel and weekly readings on my Facebook business page, which is the same name, Story and Stone. these readings are for the collective, so they may not resonate with you, and that is fine. Just go on with your day. Take what does resonate with you, leave the rest. What else do I need to tell you? I do offer personal readings, but I will never cold canvas you. So if someone contacts you saying that they are me offering you a reading, it is not me. It's a scam. Please report and block. Okay, the cards I'm using today. So I'm just going to do a reading today about winter solstice and about the winter season. The cards I'm using today are, of course, my trusty little gold foil tarot. Love these. Is that better? And I'm also going to read from the Forest Magic Oracle, which is by Nikki and it goes with this book called Forest Magic, Rituals and Spells for Green Witchcraft, but it talks about rewilding and the herbs and the trees that go with each season. It's a really interesting book. And these are the oracle cards here, so we'll draw an oracle card. And then I've also got my Seed and Sickle oracle deck, which is a really unique deck in that you get 2 decks out of 1. So this is the deck here, but then you also have 2 guidebooks. One is the Dusk Guidebook, which is about our inner work, and one is the Dawn Guidebook, which is our outer work. So I'm going to do a quick draw from them as well. Okay, I'll just have a sip of my tea. Oh, I love my first cup of tea in the morning. Okay, so the question I'm going to ask today with the tarot cards is, how can we best navigate this winter season? Whoop. I love these gold foil, but they're sort of a plastic. They're not a card stock, and they do tend to be quite slippery. How can we best navigate the season of winter? How can we best navigate the season of winter? Okay, so straight away they're yelling at me, stop, which is what I was just talking about. We're just going to do a 3-card draw. Ooh, ooh. Okay. So, I'm not going to hold these cards up like I usually do in my weekly reading. I'll take photographs of them and put them up on the screen like I do for my monthly reading, because I have noticed that the camera is a bit far away today. Do you like my new jumper, by the way? I just finished this yesterday. I love it. I'm wearing it today because today is supposed to be only 15 degrees and I think it may end up being the coldest day of the year, so I'm wearing my polar neck. Anyway, okay, we have got, from the 3-card draw, we've got 2 major arcana and 1 minor arcana. Now, the 2 major arcana are just so fitting for winter. We have the Magician, the Hanged Man, and then we have the 3 of Cups. Now, the Magician, he is all about having everything you need to get to where you want to go. You don't need to do any more research, any more study, nothing like that. You've got everything you need within you to create what you desire. Now, I think we actually got this for the last weekly reading, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But he's sort of telling you there's no need to keep doing this winter. Just take a step back and reassess your situations. You know, reassess the job front, reassess the relationship front, reassess the self-care front, and just look at what you actually have already within your arsenal of tools and resources to give you what you desire. So often now we think about, you know, oh, I need this to be, when I get this, I'll be happy or I'll be fulfilled. But then we scroll through social media and we see the next thing that we need to make us fulfilled, and then the next thing we need. And it just continues on like that. It's just rampant consumerism, which we have to stop. If we want to survive, we have to stop buying shit that we don't need. Says the woman with 55 car oracle decks. But I use every single one of them except maybe one. And I keep that for the artwork. But I digress again. Sorry, it's going to most probably be a bit like that today because it's only 8:15. I've had a really snuggly sleep and I'm really feeling cozy and quite talkative. So I really do apologise if I keep digressing. But anyway, this is telling me that you need to just stop. Just stop for the winter season and just think about all that you have. Because you've already got it. Look at ways that you can use your tools and resources, the things that you already have to give you what you actually want. Because often we already have it, but we just can't see it because we're always looking forward. We're never looking back. Okay, so the next card we have is the Hanged Man. Now, the Hanged Man is the typical winter card because it's saying you are being blocked at the moment. You will not go forward no matter how many times you hit your head against that brick wall. There is no going over it, around it, under it, through it. Just chill out. Calm your farm, as my sister says. He's saying stop. Just stop trying to do everything. It also could be about maybe you have been trying to get somewhere and you just keep hitting obstacle after obstacle. And this card is saying it's time to look at your situation from another perspective. I really feel because of the question we've asked about how we navigate this season, I really feel like this is saying to us, it's just reiterating what the Magician has said, saying, just stop. Just stop. Stop struggling. Just chill out, relax, reflect. Look at things from a different perspective. How could I have done that situation better? How can I do the next thing that I want to do better? What changes can I make? They're asking me to talk about relationships with this card as well. And they're saying that sometimes when we have trouble in relationships, we need to actually step back and just look at it from the other person's perspective. Because sometimes we get so caught up in how we're feeling and getting our point across and making sure that the other person understands how we feel, that we forget to think about how they feel and where they're coming from. So this card is saying really reflect on your relationships, your main relationships at this time, with your parents, with your siblings, with your partner, with your children. Just thinking about those relationships, and especially if you've had some turmoil in one of those relationships, just thinking about how is this person seeing it from their perspective? And stop trying to push your feelings and your opinions on them and think about what they're trying to tell you, you know? And just see if that can't calm things down or make you feel a bit more compassion for that person's line of thinking. So they really wanted me to talk about that. Now, the last card we have is the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is about spending time with like-minded people, whether that's your family, your friends, the family that you've created for yourself, a group that you belong to. This card is saying this is the season to spend time with people. Now, by nature, I'm an extrovert. Oh, no, sorry. I'm an introvert. I am an introvert. I like my time to myself. But people think because you're an introvert that you don't like people and you don't like socializing. And I feel sometimes that maybe when I was younger, I wasn't always invited to everything because people thought, well, she's an introvert or she's not really into parties or that, so they wouldn't invite me. But actually, just because you're an introvert doesn't mean that you don't want to spend time with people. You know, we're human. It's in our DNA to want to connect with other people. It's just that I can't stay connected as long as someone who is an extrovert. I need to step back and refill my cup, basically. But this card is saying, don't hide away. Don't hibernate by yourself in your cozy little cave. It's okay to do that for a while, but you need to connect with people, especially people who see you for who you truly are. So this card is saying, excuse me, make sure that you make time for the people in your life. Excuse me. Make sure you spend time with people in your life. Don't start skipping those group meetings because it's cold and rainy outside. As I said in my last weekly video, there's no such thing as bad weather. There's just wrong gear. You know, you haven't dressed right for the weather. So go out and buy a pair of gumboots. They're like $20 from Bunnings. And buy that waterproof raincoat and get out there and go to your meetings and meet up with your people and catch up in cafes and support our local businesses over this winter period, because it's always, unless you're in a destination that is a tourist destination in winter, sometimes winter can be a bit of a struggle for these smaller businesses. So it's really good that you go and you support them by getting off your ass, turning off your TV and getting dressed for the weather and going out and enjoying it. Because winter, I find going out in winter so invigorating. I love it. I love the coldness on your nose. And even though it makes your nose run, I don't care. I love it. I love feeling that chill in the air, even, you know, the mist on your breath when you're speaking. I would love it if I lived in a really cold spot, maybe not snowing, but cold enough to wear hats and gloves and scarves and leg warmers. I'm an 80s girl, got to wear leg warmers. So that is how we're going to navigate the winter season. We're going to stop, reflect, think about things from a different perspective, work on our relationships, start thinking about where we want to go next season, and we're going to spend time with the people that we love. Okay, so the next deck we're going to pull from is the Forest Magical Oracle by Nikki Vanderkar. Nikki lives out in Hawaii. She lives on one of the islands of Hawaii. I actually saw a picture the other day on her Instagram account where she was looking at out her kitchen window at the island's volcano exploding with lava. I was like, oh my God, I could not live that close to a volcano. And she's created this book. I think she created it last year or maybe the year before. I think it was last year, called Forest Magic. Now, she's a witch, but she also talks about rewilding, which is letting spaces that humans have cleared and used for other purposes, letting them go back to the way they were. And she's done an oracle deck here. She talks about the pagan wheel of the year, and also some of the legend of that. If we look in this book, so we call this Winter Solstice here, but in the pagan wheel of the year, it's actually called Yule. And because in the Northern Hemisphere it's near Christmas, Christmas is often called Yule. But because Yule, I've been trying to call it Yule and it just feels weird in the middle of June, so I've gone back to calling it Winter Solstice. So when she does up this book, which is a really beautiful book, she talks about the myth, the Celtic and the traditional myth or pagan myth that, or stories that come through for each season. And she talks about two characters, the Holly King and the Oak King, and they have a fight for dominance, basically. And when the Holly King rules, it's winter, and when the Oak King rules, it's summer. And there's lots of other stuff that we're not going to go into today. But typically Yule is spent celebrating with your friends and family. You can have a Yule log. I think back in traditional times, there used to be a fire in the village and everybody would take a piece of log or fire from that fire and relight their fires. But the Yule log was actually, in Australia, we can make a log either a branch that's fallen off a tree, don't cut it off the tree, but a branch that's fallen off the tree, or a piece of commercial firewood, and you just make little slits in it, and your friends and family can write their wishes on little pieces of paper and stick them into these little slots. So, and then at night you have a feast and you can put that log on the fire, and the fire will release all those wishes to the universe, the goddess, God, whoever you believe in, and hopefully those wishes will come true for you. Remembering that you just can't wish and do nothing. You have to wish and then act towards your wish, which is a whole other video. But yeah, so she talks about that, and she talks about honouring the goddess, and then she talks about plants that thrive in that season. So the elder, the juniper, mistletoe, obviously. Some of these I've never seen in Australia. Myrtle, pine, witch hazel, and yew. So, and then she's got some rituals or spell work. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a card today. Okay. What guidance do you have for us? They want to jump out, don't they? What guidance do you have for us on this winter solstice? What guidance do you have for us on this winter solstice? Okay, we've got yew, which is actually a traditional plant of the season. And I'm just going to read the guidebook. Now the yew, isn't that in Celtic tradition, there was always, the yew tree is that supposedly where the world between our world and the other world, like the Fey world, happens? And they used to put yew trees, or they used to build churches near yew trees or something like that. Let me have a look. Okay, so I was correct. Yew trees are often found in graveyards. In fact, somewhere around 500 English churches were built alongside yew trees, with the yews being older than the buildings. Perhaps they were meant to encourage the spirits of the dead to stay at rest. Or perhaps they allowed clearer communication with our ancestors. Either way, this powerful plant is highly poisonous, but also highly flexible, and longbows such as those used by Robin Hood were made of yew. If this makes it seem like yews have been around for a while, they have. Yews live for just about forever and reproduce by dropping root dropping branches of older trees which spring up anew in a natural example of the cycle of life. So they're a bit like the boa tree or the baobab tree. The baobab tree sends out its little baby trees not far from it, and then what it does is it actually grows around it. And the yew tree does this as well. I remember when I was in England, I can't remember where we were, one of the older states, and there was this massive yew tree, like it was huge. It must have been, I don't know, 20 meters across or something. It was massive, absolutely massive. And that's what it does. It sends up the little shoots, and then they all sort of congregate together, and they live forever. And I seem to remember somewhere in my head that it's quite bad luck to cut a yew tree down, which is why they all still stand. So like the yew tree, I feel like it's saying to us that for longevity, we need to put out our feelers. We need to put out our babies as such. And I keep getting the word diversify. So this is saying, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone this winter. Don't be afraid to think differently, as the hangman told us in the last video. So that's it. That's the card for the oracle. Shall we see what this says? I'll just see quickly if this says anything else about you trees. I don't think, I'm pretty sure it's just a repeat. Okay, yew has been called the tree of the dead, and legend has it that yew wands could be used by necromancers, which are people who raise corpses, for undead servants, but is perhaps better understood as the tree of the crossroads. Yew trees are often found in graveyards, in fact somewhere around blah blah blah, we've already read that. Okay, in the centre of Scotland grows the fortingal, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, yew, which is purported to be anything from 2,000 to 9,000 years old. So there you have it. That's our symbol for longevity. And also Mayo in Ireland is the largest yew tree forest in the world. And there are indications that it has been there since the last ice age. I'm really having trouble speaking today. So yews live just about forever and reproduces by root-dropping branches of older trees which spring up anew in a natural example of the cycle of life and the wheel of the year. So I don't know if we have yew trees here in Australia. I'll have to look that up. I'd say we would, but I'm not quite sure where our climate would best be suited for that type of tree. So that's the forest magic. So be like the yew. To maintain longevity, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone and to put those feelers out and grow in different places. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to draw 2 cards from the Seed and Sickle deck, one for our inner workings and one for our outer workings. What guidance do you have for us on this winter solstice? What guidance do you have for us on this winter solstice? Okay, so for our dawn card we have the bluebell. I'll put a picture up anyway. Let's see. Bluebell. So bluebell means mending, fixing problems, and a meticulous approach. And it's actually in the summer, because this deck is also divided into the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. Next one. Okay, so the guidebook says, previously laid plans feel like they're starting to fall apart. If you don't stop and mend them now, it's only going to cause issues further down the line. The gummy sap of the bluebell has historically been used in bookbinding and fletching. It's even a natural insecticide, providing an extra protection against damage. Whatever glue you use in this situation, take the time you need to find the correct solution and set things right now, or you'll end up doing the work again in the near future. So this is really good. Now, the Dawn guidebook is about our outer workings, so things that we have to do, actions we have to take. And this really fits in with winter solstice and winter, the season of winter. Because what it's saying is go back, reflect at what you've done, look at what you're doing, what are you in the middle of, what's finished and all that sort of stuff, and see where you maybe need to, change course, fix up things, mend things. And now this can physically be going through your storage shed and fixing anything that you've put in there because it broke and you haven't had time to fix it, or mending clothes or doing things like that. But I feel like it is also mostly about physically looking at the projects that you've got going, at the situations that you have going on now, and actually seeing, okay, do I need to make changes in the direction I'm going? Do I need to rewrite that thesis or change part of that thesis for my PhD? Or do I need to look at that presentation again for work? And also thinking further back, when we talked about relationships and talking about how you need to look at each other's side and you can see if you can have a bit more compassion for the way why those people are putting forth the arguments and opinions that they are. This is saying go back and have a look in your relationships. Where can you make amends? Where were you the arse? So can you apologise? Can you make amends because you were tired and you were a bit snappy at the kids, So that type of thing. Think about those type of things that you can physically do. Okay, so for the Dusk guidebook, we got Rose. They're such beautiful cards, I tell you. So let's just have a look at the quick reading so I know where to look for it. Rose. So it's in the autumn section and it's all about secrecy and survival. Okay, so the guidebook says, hanging a rose from a ceiling, a tradition which started with the Romans and continues today, indicates that any conversation which takes place in its presence must be kept in the strictest confidence. It's time to finally tell that secret that's been gnawing away at you. Choose your confidant carefully. It may be that they have something they've also been wanting to share. Your relationship can only grow stronger through trusting each other. Okay, so this one, as I'm reading that guidebook, I keep seeing the Hangman card, which is their way of telling me this is connected to the relationship section that I spoke about when we discussed that card previously. And it's talking about that, they're trying to say to me, it's not so much secrets, but maybe it's feelings that you've had that you never disclosed to that person. So maybe, you're friends with someone, but your feelings have grown deeper, and they're saying maybe now's the time to discuss that, even at the risk of losing that friendship, because you never know, they may be feeling the same way as well. But this is saying things that eat away at you, things that you think about, that you lie in bed at night and think about. They're the things that maybe you need to get off your chest. If it's to do with someone who is no longer with us, then I often find a very cathartic way to do this is to write a letter to them and then burn it. You can't send it to them unless you have a better connection to the dead than I do. You can't send it to them, so just write what you need to write and then ask the goddess, God, the universe, to take it to them to wherever they are, wherever you believe they are. And then light it up. Make sure you put it in a fireproof dish. Fire safety always comes first. And it will release it and it will get it off your chest. Writing stuff down and getting it out of your body is such a cathartic thing to do. And it's really healthy for you because you're not keeping that emotion, that energy in your body. It's not in your energetic bodies getting closer and closer to your physical body until it manifests as a disease. So just get rid of it, get it out. I feel like they do keep saying the word cathartic to me. So they're saying this should be things that are cathartic for you, not damaging to the other person or to a person. So okay, so they're telling me things, they're bringing up, they want me to speak about the fact that if you know someone is having an affair, don't go and tell the other person, go and approach the person who's having the affair and say to them, I know what you're doing and it's eating away at me, you need to come clean. Otherwise, I may tell. But I just need you to know that I know what you're doing. There should be no judgment, even though I know that we most probably all would judge. I know I would find it hard to not judge, but there should be no judgment. But just say to them, look, I know what you're doing and it's not fair on your partner, so you need to fix this. You need to make amends. And that could be your way of helping someone else make amends as well. So it's about not necessarily secrets, although it could be, but it's also maybe just getting out things that you're feeling, things that you're thinking about that you haven't talked to anybody about. And don't talk to anybody, just anybody. Make sure you do pick someone who you can trust, not to spread it, all around the community. Okay, well, that is it. We have finished our reading. I think this is going to be a bit of a doozy, but it is for Winter Solstice and for winter. If this proves successful, I might actually do this at the beginning of every season, but I'll be going via the wheel of the year, not necessarily the Gregorian calendar seasons. So here in Perth, there are actually quite a few things on at the moment. I've noticed a few Winter Solstice things. There's a few things, I think there's one down in Woodbridge or somewhere for the kiddies, a Winter Solstice thing, and then there's some other things down south. But it is basically raining non-stop here, and I think it's supposed to rain all day today. So I don't know if I'll be venturing out, maybe to get chocolate, I'm not sure. Anyway, whatever you're doing, have a great Winter Solstice, and I will see you in the next video.